On the web at betsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
and good morning to Superintendent Spotlight on location from Westfield High School. Today is the Science Fair. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Zap, pleasure to be here as always. I believe it's our third year in a row broadcasting.
Is this our third year?
Yes, I believe you're correct.
Yeah, not bad.
Usually it's on a Thursday, though, so this year is...
I'm off a whole day this week because of this. I need you to know
Does
that.
that mean tomorrow's Friday?
That's what I've been...
and actually it works out this year because tomorrow could be an interesting weather morning.
So I just looked at the forecast. 1 to 3 inches of snow and then a changeover to sleet and freezing rain and then regular rain. So tomorrow morning I'll be up at 4 a.m. and talking to whoever I need to speak to make a call.
If you need to, I'm heading to the studio at normal at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now. You know why? It's a little depressing because we actually saw the sun today driving into.
It's been a little. So it's not just me. It feels like it's been a while, right?
It has been a while.
We have Susan Dargy, guest hosting with us today. Good morning, Susan. How are you?
Hold on.
Hold on. Yeah, wait.
She's plugged into the... go ahead.
Now try.
Now try it.
Oh, hi.
There we go. Okay.
No, I forgot. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. The other way. Yeah.
And the other thing you were talking about, it's going to be 44 today. It's going to be beautiful and sunny.
Sunny, yeah.
More bad weather. So, but you know what? I wanted to highlight a few things because the Westfield High School girls basketball team is tournament bound, and I don't know when the last time they can say that is. It's been a while. So, Westfield punched its ticket to the postseason with a 54-28 win over Chicopee Comp Tuesday night. Amazing. It was the 10th win of the season for the Bombers, who are 10-8. And Westfield junior Chandler Podolsky actually scored a season-high 24 points.
Awesome.
Of those 54. Wow. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah,
it's very good. So Chandler led the way indeed.
She did. They still have 2 regular season contests remaining at East Long Meadow on February 14th, Valentine's Day, right, this Friday, and then at Minnechaug February 19th, and then postseason begins. So that's pretty awesome.
Other breaking sports news: the Yankees begin pitchers and catchers today.
They do, yes.
Aaron Boone press conference coming up,
and the Red Sox have a manager.
They do.
Interim for a while,
unless he gets linked to the sign cheating.
Which, by the way,
he was on the bench for Alex Cora, right?
This whole thing is just getting worse every single.
It's actually bad for baseball because
it really is.
If they really wanted to dig hard enough, every team does it. But there's ways of doing it that are legal, and there's ways of doing it that are not legal.
I think some are a little more zealous than others about it.
Yeah, they're all very zealous about it. Just the means. It's not the ends; it's the means.
Exactly.
I mean, there's lawsuits now, and
I saw that.
Just a pitcher suing the Astros for ruining his career.
Well, no, they're ruining his potential for the postseason.
Oh, okay. All right.
And actually, the suit has merit. I heard him talking about it yesterday because he doesn't want a penny from it. He wants it to go to all the money that in the lawsuit to go to charities. And to start a fund for Major League Baseball players who are out with big problems, major problems in life.
Well, I was having this conversation with another avid sports fan yesterday that one of the reasons this has so much momentum is no players have been fined, suspended, disciplined.
Because they were the moles.
Correct. So until they start getting hit in the pocketbook a little bit, it's going to continue to go.
Well, right. And what they make, Chris, I don't know if it's going to hurt all that much anyway. But
so anyway, back to Westfield Public Schools.
Right. Susan, we have a special kindergarten registration. You want to tell us about that coming up?
Do have a special announcement. Kindergarten registration is well underway for the 2021 school year. We had a great countdown to kindergarten event. Registration is open. Parents can go online. And we have 2 in-person register and document drop-off dates. Parents can go directly to the Westfield Public Schools district offices at 94 North Elm Street on Wednesday, March 4th, and on Tuesday, April 14th. We are extending our hours to 3 to 7 p.m. on both days. We will have our central registration department, led by Denise Ruzala, available to answer all your questions, take your documents that are required. And we ask that if you are coming for this evening event, that you bring birth certificate, immunization records, and proof of residency. Those are the documents we need. We're excited to meet you and your children, and we hope to see you there.
Well, and of course, if they have any questions, they can email pre-registration at schoolsofwestfield.org. So they can get some, or call 572-6439. So this is great. We had countdown for kindergarten. We have 2, but if parents, they can just go right online and start the process without even coming in, correct?
Yes.
All right.
We recommend.
Register for kindergarten. We need to know who's coming.
Do it now.
Do it now. Yeah. So, although we are broadcasting from Westfield High School, we're still going to continue to talk about, we usually are from Studio 120 at WTA, and Tiger's Pride Restaurant is open today.
Nice.
Yeehaw.
I might actually.
By the time I break down, I can make lunch.
For lunch. Well, they have beef, vegetable, lentil soup, or shrimp bisque, and the salads today, they have, of course, their regular garden salad, but then they have a broiled chicken salad, which sounds delicious. It actually it's topped with strawberries, cantaloupe, feta cheese, and broiled chicken strips finished with a raspberry vinaigrette. That
sounds pretty good.
Delicious.
Andres du jour, chicken Milanese, sautéed breaded chicken breast topped with roasted tomato, fennel, and mascarpone cheese sauce. That sounds really good. Also with broiled asparagus and something potatoes.
Something potatoes. Let's just leave it at that.
Dauphinoise?
No, don't. Just leave it. You were right the first time.
I was okay. And then Terrace Major Steak. I've never heard of that. Seared, hand-carved, and finished with sauce espagnole, served with broiled asparagus and the same potatoes. Their sandwich special is a chicken bacon ranch wrap with avocado. And, of course, you can always stop by between 10:45 and 12:15 off of Smith Avenue.
I may go there for lunch today now.
Well, tomorrow's the buffet.
I know. That's why I may go there today.
The buffet? Yeah. That's a good call. Because they're doing the buffet on Thursday because Valentine's Day they clean the kitchen before February break.
You got a break coming.
So is this the kitchen sink one? No, that's the end of the year.
No, end of the year is the kitchen sink. I've coined that one.
Yeah.
I coined that one because it's really, you never know what time you get there, what you're going to get.
Absolutely. Right. But this looks outstanding. They have, of course, their salads. They have carved roast turkey, meatloaf, chicken saltimbocca, coconut fried shrimp with horseradish marmalade.
All right, maybe I am going to the buffet
Mediterranean
tomorrow.
roasted.
Let me know when you'll be there.
Pot pie, seared chicken with onions and dates, fried bay scallops with a Creole tartar sauce.
As soon as you
roasted butternut squash, which I can't stand, but everyone else.
I love butternut squash.
I like butternut squash.
Susan, you like butternut?
I don't know anybody else
Oh, there it is.
doesn't like it.
I'm the only one who doesn't like butternut squash in the world.
Maybe that we've ever met. Yeah.
Yeah. Garlic, Brussels sprouts, rice pilaf, mashed potatoes. So again, buffet tomorrow. And again, today we are broadcasting here live from Westfield High School. We're going to get some guests in a few minutes in terms of talking with some students from the science fair. But folks, next week we are not on the air because of February vacation.
All right, so best of for next week.
Best of for next week.
She don't understand. Even though she's off camera, she doesn't do this. I've had this. We've had this with her before. She doesn't.
I got her
school committee person.
We're just saying hello this morning to school committee member Cindy Sullivan, who's here to see our science project.
No, I don't want to incur that rap. Yeah, I'm good. She has to be on it for school committee meetings, and that's it.
But when we get back from vacation, we have Jill Phelan. We're going to talk all about Highland Elementary School on the 27th. Then we have Mr. Jendryzik for Westfield High School. March 12th, we have Tina Macy for VIPS. We're going to talk about Into the Arts and other stuff. And then on the 19th, we have Kathy Coutinho in the core
program. Yeah.
And then on the 26th, we have Joanne Hetnick from Fort Meadow. So we are booked through the end of March, which is pretty
now. Just to double check, are we both going to be here for all those shows?
I think we're going to try. We're going to try. But you never know what pops up. All right, Pete, we're going to take a quick break while we rustle up some students, and let's see who wants to talk about their projects. And
I was looking at some of the projects getting inspiration from music. So
there's a lot of the tech from the tech I just heard too. I think there's more from the tech than usual, which is
correct.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break.
First one is a practice I saw about electricity.
Oh, excellent.
She's a moving along like she's she's a moving along with it. She's so good. You gotta know it. It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie. That you can't hold it. It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie. But you know it's there. Here, there, and everywhere. Hola, hola, hola. Donde, donde lo. Hola, hola, donde, donde lo. Donde, donde lo.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio. 89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And we're back live, broadcasting from Westfield High School today. Just to make sure folks know, we're not at the Academy. We are here at the Science Fair, Pete, like we said, for the third year in a row.
Yes.
So we are really excited. And, before we get, Susan, before we get to our guest, who we're really excited to have, just looking around.
Lot going on
there's
already.
a lot going on. We were saying, that the kids take such pride in this. They're dressed so professionally. They are ready to present.
Looks like they're all in job interviews, actually.
Months of preparation has gone into this day. I was actually walking in this morning behind the bus, dropping off students with their projects from Westfield Technical Academy. And that, I believe this is the second year that Westfield Technical Academy is part of this science fair, the Westfield Science Fair.
Yeah. They have, I believe, as Zap was saying first segment, a lot more projects this year than they had last year. So our guest this morning, our first guest, is career counselor from Westfield State University, longtime colleague and friend of the Westfield Public Schools, Mr. Junior Delgado. Junior, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so Junior, you're judging today.
Yes, I am. So I got to pick from some choices, and I chose one of my favorite subject areas, which is the life sciences.
Life sciences.
So you'll be concentrating on projects that are in the life science category?
Yes.
Okay.
My specialty is not chemistry, so
Okay.
so I really like the projects that have something to do with the environment, impacts in the environment, recycling, things that make a difference.
Right. So start going back. This isn't your first year judging. You were here last year as well.
Correct.
And how does that process of being a judge start? Are you contacted by someone from the
So the
schools?
chair of the science department here does a big outreach campaign, and she reaches out to all members of the community. She reaches out to the local school districts.
Yeah, that's Lauren Figge, right?
Yes,
That you're talking about?
Lauren
and
Figge.
she is persistent.
She does not stop, and there are multiple
No
messages,
for an answer. No.
which is awesome.
Yes,
So
I love
she
that.
invites it, and she makes it very easy for us because she does extend a few invites. There is so much direction and information that it really does tell you what you're doing and what to expect. So there are no surprises when you get here.
Great.
And just to be here, the excitement, seeing the excitement of students, the energy, as you shared, the professionalism and the dress.
Absolutely.
It's amazing and something that we want our students from high school to college always to be dressing professionally, to present their best selves. So
Right.
it's just exciting to be here and see their level of excitement and the preparation for them to be here with their projects.
What's awesome too is we will at some point this morning have some students on the show as guests, and going even back to last year, and Pete recalls, we had some of the kids on last year talking about what their projects were and what they were presenting. Now, I think I'm a relatively intelligent individual, right? One of the higher ups in public education in Westfield. I had no clue what they were talking about most of the time, which is impressive. The amount of work that they do in the preparation and the deep rooted learning that's really taking place here, the authentic learning, and that's what's really exciting. And I know that's what you guys are looking for as not only as judges, but as our students are matriculating from high school to college.
Absolutely. I would agree with everything that you said 100%. That I too consider myself to be an educated individual, and just walking around and seeing some of the projects, I go, wait a second, I've never ever thought about that. I think one of the ones that really stands out from last year was a student that did a project about when people recycle and the process of this stuff in biodegradation, and the way it biodegrades, that it doesn't degrade as fast as people think. Like these coffee filters, just to say, oh, this goes right back into the earth, it biodegrades, and people are like, oh, it's going to be gone in a few months.
Yeah, once it's half-life, right?
Yeah, and you still think, and you still realize it might not biodegrade for like 10 years.
Right, right.
It's a fast. So that to me was probably the one project that stuck out the most, because I thought I was somewhat educated on the topic, but I'm always blown away because I believe that the level of time and research that they put into it, the information that they find, it's just, even for people that are like, you think you might know a little bit about it, you learn so much more from having the conversation with the students.
Right.
Yeah, no question, no question.
So you just came from the briefing session for all judges that was held in the auditorium, correct? And what were some of the pieces of advice or the guidance that you were given there for today?
So for any of the returners, they really do talk about the process being not that much changed unless there's some minor thing that's been changed in the program. But from everything that I can tell already, we have the same process we did last year. The scoring sheets look a little bit different.
And we've gone Google with our scoring.
Yes, absolutely. And so it looks... the sheets are much, much easier to use. The other piece for the newcomers, what they talk about is really what to look for in projects. They really spend a little bit of time talking about the scoring methodology and how to score the projects and what you need to listen for, what type of detail, because there's all the criteria that's broken down from the creativity, the level of research that they've done.
Right.
And so you really want to look at those things. So that's some of what Lauren talks about.
And so each project is not only judged by one judge, right? I believe this year I saw in writing 5 times that each project could be judged up to 5 times.
Yes, so we get our sheets with scoring sheets, and they have some table numbers, and we find those table numbers, and once we're done with those, we come back up and we get more scoring sheets, and we go to different projects as well. So it's interesting when you're walking around and see somebody who's standing at one particular number and they're listening to the project, and then you look at your sheet and, I'm up next for that project. So you get to walk over and listen to that project as well.
And it's nice to get input from people with different lenses as judges to make sure that we get a score that really is representative of each project.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's important.
No doubt. So, what time? Now, help me out here too. What time is the judging beginning, or has it already begun?
From what I can tell, I think the judging starts in about 10 minutes or so.
10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it begins, and then that process will go till about 11:30. And then there's 2 different groups, and the groups will break. So one group goes to lunch at 11:30,
and one goes
to lunch at 12, so that they're continually judging throughout.
Right, and if more judging needs to happen after that point, there may be a couple of projects that haven't reached that 5 times threshold. We'll make sure to get that done after lunch, and then there's some additional judging that occurs by our science. The top 30 projects are identified, and we do more tomorrow. I'm sure Lauren will fill us in.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we have Lauren on, she'll give us each and every single detail, I'm sure, about what's taking place today. So, Junior, while we have you on, any upcoming events that we should be aware of at Westfield State in terms of our kids, or in terms of open houses or anything along the lines, application process?
Absolutely. So right now we're still in the application period at Westfield State. We do have this next week on Wednesday, the 19th, I believe, or the 18th, whatever date next Wednesday is. We do have an accepted students day. So any of those students that have been accepted to Westfield, themselves, their families, their champions, have the opportunity to come out and get to really speak to faculty members, see the university, take a tour, speak to different departments. There'll be a student affairs type fair for families. So all the support departments that provide support to our students and families will also be at this event. And so that's one thing. The second thing that we have, which we always open it up to the community, especially our students, if they want to see what a career fair is like, on March 4th, we'll be having a general job and internship fair up at Westfield State.
Awesome.
And so we'll have we'll probably top out at about 84 organizations, and they're coming from all different directions. One thing that we found is that in our Career Center, we'd like to take a lot of information from students, and we want to know what's going to better serve them. And one of the best things that we've done in the last 2 years is we always provided a list of the organizations and just a straight list with names, and that really didn't mean anything to students. And what we did last year, based on suggestions, was to break down the organizations by geographic regions. So we tell the students what states they're coming from,
Nice.
where the organizations are from. So if they're Central Mass, Eastern Mass, Western Mass, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and that has really been a home run for us when it comes to students. They appreciate it more. Now when they're looking at an organization, they know where it is, so if it fits into their geographic want area. So those, I would say, some of the major events
Great.
that we have going on at the university.
Well, that's awesome. And listen, we appreciate you being on the show this morning. We know you've got a big morning of judging coming up, and as always,
Training. You went through the training, right?
Yes.
So how was that? I just have to ask because I've never sat through the training. You went through the training too. Is it intense?
No, it's very
takes it easy on
nicely
us.
scaffolded.
They do take it.
Yes.
But I listen to the judges, and we have to thank each and every one of them for giving up time
Absolutely.
out of your day. But the projects, I don't know if you've seen any yet, but they look pretty amazing. And I don't envy you the task of judging because I think they're all great. So how do you pick at that point which are the best? You know, that makes that's a tough job. So thank you, Junior, for doing
Absolutely.
that.
Yes,
No, and like I said, I'm glad to be here. I think most of the judges are super happy to serve and give back. What's interesting is I was sitting with some of the other judges to hear from so many of the people that are alums of the Westfield Public Schools, and so many are alums of either Westfield, of the Westfield High, or of the Technical Academy. And it's nice to have those people come back and give.
It sure is.
To students many
Absolutely.
years later. There was one person that I was walking in with, and he goes, "Wow, this brings back so many memories." As students walk through the door. So that was interesting to hear, because as I think about it, and I've been removed for 20 plus years, maybe more, from the high school. It's just like, okay, yeah, you think back to those times, and it seems like it was so long ago. But yeah, there's some good memories, and
We're getting old. That's what that says.
that's what it is. Yeah, it's the reminiscing.
It is reminiscent. All right, Junior, thank you very much.
thanks again, bud. Pete, let's take a quick break, and we'll get
Thank
some.
you.
We're going to get Lauren Figge over here, I hope.
Talk to you.
All right.
If I could make a wish, I think I'd pass. Can't think of anything I
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Support Westfield. for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris, broadcasting live from the gorgeous gymnasium of Westfield High School. Brand new roof. Brand new roof. My former stomping grounds. We're actually sitting in my former classroom right here.
You talked to him, teacher?
Isn't it gorgeous? What was that, Pete?
You were the gym teacher?
I was the physical educator and coach of 3 sports here for.
Back in my day, it was called gym teacher.
Yeah. I had more than one student. I taught more than just gym. Okay.
He's getting a little touchy over there.
He is. A little sensitivity to that.
Speaking of students, we're here at the Science Fair, where we're broadcasting live for the 3rd straight year. I think we've said that a couple of times already. We've got some outstanding students joining us. And if we're on camera, it's going to be from my left to over toward Mrs. Dargy. We have Ailey Connolly. Good morning. How are you? Don't forget that mic.
In the mic, yep.
That talk right in the microphone.
Right. And Brooke Borges. Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning.
And we have Sophia Taglieri. Good morning, Sophia.
Good morning.
And we have Ray Edwards. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
Girls, thanks for being with us today. So we're really excited about the Science Fair. As you can tell, as educators, this is one of our favorite days of the whole school year, believe it or not. So tell us what your projects are, what you're doing, the preparation that you've had coming into today, and what you've got planned and what you got in store for our judges.
So me and Brooklyn's project is how color affects heat absorption. And we've just been getting together over the past few months to perform our experiment, which was actually pretty boring. We just sat there and watched colors heat up for 40 minutes straight, but got it done. And we got our posters done recently. It was just...
So now I have to, what color heats up? How does that? What
color car shouldn't you buy?
Yeah, exactly.
We discovered that we could not use black or white in our experiment because we cannot have measurable wavelengths for those.
Ooh.
White's wavelength is the combination of every color's wavelength.
Okay.
And we had...
Just keep talking, don't worry.
Yeah. Purple heated up the fastest out of the colors we used.
Purple?
Because it has the highest frequency.
Interesting.
Susan, purple like Mr. Rogers' shirt, which matches his pen. This color?
Yes, around that color, purple.
Wow.
I would not have thought that would absorb.
And yellow actually heats up the slowest because it reflects light.
Oh, very cool.
Maybe that's why I'm so hot this morning. It's the purple shirt.
It's the purple shirt.
It could be.
It might be the lights, right? We got to open a window in here.
That's usually me, and I'm fine.
I know.
Today. I'm fine too, so I don't know what's going on with Chris. Somebody check his temperature, influenza, quarantine.
Moving away.
No. At least I don't think so.
So you said the actual process of watching the colors or seeing the colors heat up was boring, but how about your conclusion? Did you learn anything out of that? Was it surprising to you?
Our hypothesis was for the most part correct, and we actually recently figured out after we had finished our project that the reason our hypothesis wasn't drastically the same was because we used a green and a yellow that had different wavelengths than the shortest possible wavelength, so they heated up at a different speed than at maybe a lighter green.
So in theory, then, if you buy a purple car, which I don't see too many of those, right? You don't really. I don't think it's a big color.
Not really.
One of our colleagues just obtained a purple.
Oh,
yeah.
really? So that car is going to heat up fast?
And
Your car gets hot inside. It really does.
Discount.
I remember watching, a friend of mine was a meteorologist for Channel 22, years ago, and I remember he did an experiment. He put cookie dough on the dashboard of a car.
Yep.
And it actually started to cook. The
Yeah,
cookie
you
dough
did it with
started to
egg
cook.
too, right? Yeah, the big one is egg on metal. Yeah.
Brooklyn, can you tell us a little bit about the notebook that you kept? Did you keep a notebook during this time?
Yeah,
That
we
will be
did.
part of the project that the judges will be looking at?
So we did most of our before research in the notebook, and then as we got going, we realized that we had to start heating the colors up for longer than we expected. So we did a whole bunch of test runs on the control group where we used just clear water in a mason jar, and we saw how long it took for them to go up a degree.
So you measure the water temperature to determine what
how
heated
long
up
we needed
faster.
to get for results.
Interesting. Okay. Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Were you sharing the notebook or the results with your teacher along the way and getting feedback, or at that point are you on your own with your project?
At that point, we were by ourselves, but my teacher did send me a couple of links to do the before research, which is where we learned a little bit more about the frequencies and the wavelengths of color.
Great.
Nice.
Now, are you both in the same science class?
No.
No. All right. What science class are you in?
I'm in Mr. Kolosky's.
Okay.
And I'm in Mrs. Stetloff's.
Okay.
Both biology.
Honors biology classes, right? Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
All right. Thank you
Rose,
very much.
very much.
Good luck today.
Good luck.
I'm sure you guys are going to do very well.
I agree.
Sounds like it's a great project. All right, Sophia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Want to talk to us a little bit about your project today?
Okay. So, my project is called Milk Magic, and essentially what I did was I tested the glucose content in different types of milk. I used regular dairy milk, I used various types of nut milk, and I actually used lactate as well. And so I tested their initial glucose content, and then I used lemon juice to sort of digest to digest the milks, and to see if that would break down any more of the sugar that may be present.
Okay.
You make
And-
curds, right?
Is that what happened?
Do using lemon you make curd?
Well, it didn't stay in there long enough to fully curdle.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to get it to digest sufficiently.
Okay.
So, and it was a very interesting project because I don't really drink dairy milk, and so I wanted to see what the most health conscious choice would be, especially for like people with diabetes who glucose is a huge factor in their dietary needs.
Sure. So what did you find out? What's the best milk?
So, interestingly enough, the milk that had the highest glucose content was the lactate, which claims to have all the lactose removed.
Wow. Yeah.
It's milk sugar.
Wow.
And I kind of think that a reason for this could be that so lactose is a disaccharide comprised of glucose and galactose, which is a significantly less digestible sugar. So I think that they broke apart the lactose, took the galactose out, and kept the glucose, which is easier to digest.
Right.
So I think that's why I'd probably have to do more research on that specifically.
It's a good theory, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you run into any challenges along the way that caused you to need to change course?
Yes, actually, I had gone through 2 other projects before this, and one of them was actually pretty recent. It was in the same vein of testing sugar content, but I was testing the sugar content of Smarties to see if the content on the packaging was reflective of like what my samples indicated. And it turns out that the test that I had intended to use didn't measure the type of sugar that was present in the Smarties, so it wasn't working. And then I thought about, if I'm really trying to do an experiment from a health perspective, why not use something that's good for us?
Right.
How so did you do almond milk? That's like the big thing, right? People are drinking almond milk.
I love almond milk.
You do?
Yeah.
How did almond milk do?
So I used 2 different types of almond milk, actually.
There's sweetened and unsweetened, right?
Right. I used all unsweetened flavors for my nut milks because I figured that inherently the sweetened ones would have a higher sugar content.
Absolutely, yeah.
But one of the brands that I found, it was the Almond Breeze brand. They did not have any sugar that was indicated. But another brand, Wholesome Pantry, which also was unsweetened, actually contained a bit of glucose.
Really?
Which was interesting.
But it says it's unsweetened, so are they lying, or is there just a certain amount of glucose in there inherently?
I would have to look more into that. I do know that there's a certain amount of sugar that is present in nuts automatically. But it's
okay.
in the form of sucrose. So I don't think that the sucrose was necessarily digested by the lemon juice.
Gotcha.
So I think that may just be additional sugar that claims to not be in there.
Are you working alone, or I don't know if you said that already. Do you have a partner?
Yes, I am working alone.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Good for you. Sounds like very interesting information. And I've learned a lot about milk today. And regular dairy milk probably has a ton of sugar, right?
I used 1%. And actually,
that's supposed to be better for you in theory, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that one actually came up as having none as well, because the lactate, the Wholesome Pantry almond milk, were the only ones that indicated any glucose content. So, again, I think that for all of the other ones, the lemon juice was just not able to digest the disaccharides, which are still sugar, that were present in the milk. And since my test only tested glucose, they couldn't read it in its true glucose form. And so that's why it didn't show up.
Very good.
All right.
Nice
Well,
job.
thank you.
Thank you. Good
Well,
luck.
well done.
Thank you.
All right, Ray, how are you?
Good morning, Ray.
Just bring that right up close.
Yeah,
Driving an acid, so we based it off on our pH of the ocean and carbon dioxide. So it basically started during the Industrial Revolution when cars started to be mating and like the oil process and all that. And so we had grabbed a bag of seashells from the ocean. You know, we went to the ocean, we discovered like a whole bunch of like how high the pH was because of the carbon dioxide. And so we tested it, we running it, but we didn't use the carbon dioxide, we used vinegar as a substitute, which had a pH of 2.4, and that's more basic than what carbon dioxide is and has a higher pH than what you usually have. So we run it out, and it just disintegrated the shells, and so we could see that our...
Thank you. You can go.
So we could see that the ocean and like the carbon dioxide was like ruining our ecosystem, and so like the so the oil and all that was processing, and like it affects us everyday lives, affects the fish, and so when we're eating and all that, it just affects us all and like stuff like that.
Now, did you work alone in your project?
No, my partner.
Okay.
She's over there standing.
Did you have fun doing it?
What?
Did you have fun doing the whole process?
Yeah, we did, but it was just kind of like we don't want to touch it because, you know, acidic and all that. And
Right.
Absolutely.
and like
Right.
that, so we touched that.
Yeah.
So we learned from listening to some of our guests this morning that
Already.
the science projects require a lot of work and that not all parts are as exciting as other parts. What would you say was the best part of working on this project?
Actually seeing the shells disintegrate and like the vinegar and like turning a different color into like black than it was normally.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome
cool.
stuff. Thank you.
So
Excellent.
as judges are walking around, which category are both of your projects in? Which category?
Mine's more science life.
Life science?
Yeah.
Life science. And Sophia, yours?
Well, mine was registered as chemistry, and so I think that it's
Yeah, I could.
chemistry.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is.
I've had to-
Absolutely.
I've had to modify it a bit, so
Okay.
there's like certain biology aspects to it as well because it's like
Certainly.
plants and animal
Mm-hmm.
products.
Right.
Absolutely.
And which, and kind of the same with yours, Rihanna, right?
Chemistry.
Which classes are you in?
I'm an AP Chem.
AP Chem.
And I'm in AP Physics.
Outstanding. Thank you,
Excellent.
girls. Well done.
Well done. Good luck today. We'll be around.
Yes,
Come check
yes,
out your
good luck.
project. So say hi to us when you see us in a little bit. All right. Thanks for
Thank
being on the show.
Thank you.
And now we have Ms. Lauren Figge,
Yep.
our supervisor of science, technology, and engineering, the longest title in
think so.
Westfield Public Schools.
So long, we don't remember it.
Yeah. I just Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
I shortened it for my name tag. 'cause it
You
didn't
did?
fit.
It wouldn't fit. So I want to thank you for being on the show, and I just, you really put a lot of effort into organizing the science fair, and
She was here at 6:30 this morning.
and
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I had to wait
probably
at the door till I could swipe in.
last night too, I imagine, right?
Yep, and the night before I put some hours in.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but you do a great job. So I
Yeah,
just
and I
want to
have
recognize that.
A lot of help from teachers, and
Excellent.
it's been wonderful. Yeah, really.
So give us the rundown. How many projects? How many from the high school? How many from the tech?
Yeah.
How many judges? I know I see some famous folks walking around. I see
There's one right behind us, a city councilor.
City councilor.
Counselors, I think. 3 city councilors, I think.
Yeah.
The mayor might be coming a little later.
Okay.
We had this morning 92 judges.
That's pretty
set
amazing.
to come. We've had 5 stricken by the flu, so we told them not to come. And
We would
that's okay.
appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah. So in
Chris may be one of those people
Tis
soon, I
the
think.
season.
Well,
Science
he's warm,
fair and
you know?
flu season come
and
together.
We even have a couple kiddos that couldn't make it last minute, and we understand that.
Absolutely.
You've got the flu's been pretty bad, but we put hand sanitizer at every area. We're ready to go. So, and I wonder if some of these projects will tell us a little bit more about disinfecting.
Yes.
There is a couple of bacteria.
I think we had one last year, didn't we?
Yeah,
we
your
had
phones
one.
are gross.
We had one last
Yeah.
year.
Your phone is disgusting, and your keyboard
Phone is
disgusting.
gross. And we're doing a lot of new things this year to try to, Westfield is a Google district.
Yeah.
And Erica Masquadrelli did a phenomenal job of putting
She's our technology coach, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In recent Grinspoon
And
winner.
Grinspoon.
And she put a Google form together for our judges. So this year when they go back, they have clipboards, and thank you to the Westfield High School teachers who all loaned me their clipboards for today.
Right.
And they will just take some notes, and then they will be able to take that back to the computer area where we have all our Chromebooks set up, and they can enter the data, and students will be able to get their feedback by Friday.
That's amazing.
It's going to be
It
awesome.
used to be on paper, pretty much.
And it used to take me like 3 weeks because you had to cut it out, and then you had to sort it, and then you had to get it to the teachers to give back to the kids. This way, every teacher's on this sheet. We'll remove the judges' names, of course, before we give them the feedback, but kids will have that feedback almost immediately.
So we were talking about the last few days and all the work that went into it, but can you take us all the way back to when do you start outreach for judges?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of early steps are you taking?
Yeah, so judges, an all call for judges, and I have people email me to be judges back in August. They know the science fair at West Hill High School.
And it's every year. How many years has this been happening
This is the
now?
20th anniversary.
That's
Can you
amazing.
believe it?
The 20th year.
And I
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
participated in it for 3 years when I went to high school here, and that was starting 15 years ago. So, yeah.
So the judges start
reaching out. And anyone who'd like to be a judge, feel free to reach out at any time, because I just add your name to a running list. And then we
Lauren.figgy@schoolsofwestfield.org.
Yes, please. We are
Okay.
always looking for more judges, because the more judges we have, the more feedback kids get.
Right.
The more rounds we can do of
And
judges.
how many projects today?
168.
And there are, and I want to commend you too, because before you, the Technical Academy wasn't necessarily involved, and you made that outreach. So
3 classes from the Technical Academy. All 3 science teachers brought one of their classes today.
perfect. Okay.
It's awesome.
Did any
And-
shops do it? I think there's a shop presentation.
Yeah,
you know?
we have a lot of kids in the aviation program that came because
Yeah.
it was a robotics class of Dave Roberts that he brought with him.
Right.
And so I need to go see some of those projects because they look really
I heard they redesigned something. I think we have a potential millionaire in the group. So.
I hope. And I mean, when judges
Yeah.
come, they sign a little form that says, I won't take any of the intellectual property. Of the
Yeah,
so.
yeah, you have to do that. So.
No, and it's exciting, and
so you were talking about your judge outreach.
Yeah, so judge outreach starts as early as
Look at this.
our wonderful.
If you're watching on television right now,
Good job.
Mr. Rogers
You
just
get
bought breakfast
buck-
for himself
No, I didn't. I brought up
and left Mrs. Dargy and I out here
I
hanging.
only have 2 hands.
I know.
Well, you could have asked.
I'll remember that.
Yeah. Just saying.
Miss Stillings, our new culinary and hospitality
She's amazing.
teacher. She's amazing. She
Yeah.
was here at 6 a.m. with me and was here last night.
That
too.
looks outstanding.
Yeah, the kids.
I hope you are feeling guilty
And your
with every bite you
she
take.
is working with students to provide lunch for the judges.
Yes,
today
that's
as
where
well.
she is right now, putting the sandwiches together and everything. I think she did sandwiches, salads, pasta salads, chips, and cookies.
I am a fan of pasta salad.
Yeah, me too.
Not shy about that.
Me too. So judge outreach starts way back, even before we go on winter break. And the other cool aspect is we've been working with our regional fair. Both John Tyler, a chemistry teacher at the high school, and myself are on the regional fair board. The regional fair has been moved to Smith College this year. It's
Where was it before?
MCLA. So we're kind of excited about Smith
Closer.
College because
It's
it's
a lot
close.
closer,
We don't
yeah.
have to get a charter bus. We can, and it's a Saturday, so maybe
Right.
more parents can come. We're really hopeful on
What's the
that.
date on that?
March 7th.
Oh, I'll be working that. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
if there's any problems, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, we're super excited about that, and then from there, States is the first weekend in May at MIT still.
And last year, so folks know, we had people go international, right?
2. We've had someone go every year international since Paul Sittler in 2005.
So that's really 14 years straight, someone go international.
Because regionals is actually the people that decide our international bid.
Okay.
Because you can't wait till May, because
Right.
internationals is in June.
Right.
So the winner of regionals, we get 6 bids in Massachusetts. But last year they gave us 8 bids, and so
Okay.
2 of our students got to go because they competed so well against everyone in the state.
And
for that
because
extra
of
international spot.
because of the reputation of the Westfield Science Fair, we get more spots at regionals.
Yes, usually we do. Yep.
You got Paul Tender judging from Mestech,
We
too,
do,
I
and
just
he
see.
was just in a classroom last week, Mr. Tyler's honors chemistry and his the project Lead the Way engineering class, and he did an awesome job again giving the presentation
piece.
skills.
So
yeah.
2 more adopt a classroom.
2 more adopt a classrooms
projects with him.
Yeah,
That's
and we did that last
wonderful.
week, and we had to go. Actually, Kate Phelan came, and
She's judging today, I hear.
She is. She's over there somewhere, and Kate Phelan and someone from Mass Higher came.
Oh, all right.
To observe the Adopt a Classroom. It was a really great experience, and the kids did a really good job.
So if anyone's listening and wondering how they can learn more about what Adopt a Classroom is all about, they could go to our website,
We do
right?
have an Adopt a Classroom website now.
We do.
And what
Or
is it?
WeTuba.
WeTuba.
WE2BA.
Yep. Just search that, it comes
If
right
you search that, you get it, and you can.
I think it's one of a kind.
Yeah,
It is.
and you can. We said it.
We have a lot of those in Westfield, you know?
We were telling the kids about it because I don't know. Like we were in the adopted classroom, and Kate was like, "I'm from WeTuba," and the kids were like,
They have no idea what she's talking
Okay.
about.
Where is that?
Yeah. So, and we have, we're just so lucky with the colleges around us because
I just saw Jen Hanselman walking around from Westfield State.
We had Mr. Delgado on earlier.
Delgado was on earlier, yeah.
Jen actually brought some swag for our winners.
Wow.
So
nice.
that's pretty
Swag is
exciting.
good.
Yeah, and we recently joined the Pioneer Valley STEM Network. We were part of the refounding of that.
Yeah.
Westfield is a district that's involved with that, and Jen's done a great job. She chairs that up. And
She did.
Yeah.
She helped us out with STEM Week a lot,
yeah,
too.
STEM Week, and we have another event coming up.
And we are on the radio, so we're using acronyms. SWAG is actually an acronym.
Oh.
It
It's
is?
stuff
It is?
we all get.
I never, you know that. I didn't
That might be
realize
made
that.
up.
Okay, in my classroom,
STEM
STAG
is
stood for
definitely an
Students for
acronym.
Achieving Goals.
Oh,
with my
nice.
exemplary work board.
But STEM is definitely an acronym. And what is STEM?
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
And we
Math,
will
yeah,
see
math,
those
right.
in our projects
Oh,
today.
you will see a lot of STEM. And the project, I did a quick cursory look when I was walking up and down these aisles getting ready for today, and I just am blown away by some of the
Some of the quality.
It's amazing.
We just
Yeah.
had some students on that. I learned about milk, and we learned about what colors heat up faster. And because Mr. Rogers is wearing a purple shirt, he's hot today.
Well, we found out that no, that's right. We found out purple.
Yeah.
Heats up the fast.
It's unbelievable.
And Mr. Jendrysik is better in green than he is in purple. It's green. How's that? Grab that microphone.
grab the mic.
Jen
Yeah, Mr. Jendrysik here,
Dryzek, principal
principal
of
here.
Westfield High School. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
So talk to us. I mean, you and Lauren work together, I know, a little bit on the fair. I mean, she does a great job. I mean, you know, how's the excitement level here? You've been posting about this for a little bit.
I have been. I mean, even just yesterday, just setting up the gym and watching all the students come in, you know, with their materials and things like that. Like, you can feel the excitement in the air. For a lot of our kids,
No question.
It's like their Super Bowl for some of these
Yeah.
kids, you know? And
Absolutely.
we look forward to it all year, and this is something that we're...
Except they don't film the opponent before the game starts, or before the judges start.
Maybe they should. That might
Right.
be interesting.
That would be an honor code violation.
That the Patriots do?
I don't know who it was. Well, it's a New England sports team.
It's a New England
They
tradition.
find a way to cheat.
There are some sports projects to bring it back to STEM.
Right. They can find a way to make everything about sports.
There are some sports projects
gift.
available for you to peruse later. I did
Nice.
see.
Yeah, we will
I
be.
did see a football one and a soccer one.
Lauren, I just gave
great.
both the buzzer.
Yeah, they gave us
So we talked with one of your judges earlier about the guidance that they receive from you. I think that's where you were right before we were able to talk
Do you
to
judge?
you.
You don't judge.
I don't judge. No, I do not.
Probably good not to judge.
He might judge.
You might?
Maybe. I don't know. Former history teacher, judging science.
Anyone can
Listen,
do it.
every time this is our third year in a row coming here to the radio show, and I learn so much from the kids and what they explain. It's pretty amazing.
Right. Well, what
Our
are
kids
some
are
of
very
the ways
smart. I don't know how else to say
it's
it.
funny
that you
'cause I
support
was-
judges? What
So
are
some of the ways we support judges is we send out a blast before they come, like giving them an agenda and telling them some logistics and making sure like they kind of know what they've signed up for.
Mhm.
And then no one backs out, which is good. But we just want to be, really clear. And then in the morning before they come in here, we do a bit of a norming process where we talk about, yes, the kids worked really hard, but no, you can't give them all hundreds. Because we actually, this year, we put up a picture of the engineering and the scientific process cycles, because back when I went to school even, or when you all went to school, the scientific process.
You're saying that wasn't at the same time?
There was a scientific method, and it was like this set steps, but that's not the way scientists work. Scientists work in a cyclical fashion, like an engineering process, where you design something, you test it, you get feedback, you redesign it, you get feedback.
Oh, and
you
we heard
redesign
that
it.
from the students that we've already
We did.
interviewed.
We absolutely did.
And
They
so I
made
talked to the judges about
changes.
how they are a crucial piece of this cycle. They are the feedback piece. So if they don't take time to give quality feedback, and we went over some examples of good quality growth feedback and positive feedback, the kids won't learn.
Right.
And so we're here to provide them with those steps.
And they're working with a rubric, right? And you've got projects in different strands so that
So if
people
you're
can
if you're
talk about
uncomfortable
that.
with, say, for example, you're really uncomfortable judging an engineering project, or you're really uncomfortable judging biology, because we have people on both ends of those.
Right.
Sure.
They can choose from. We don't allow so much choice that it takes 45 minutes for you to pick some cards, but you can choose like the subject area generally.
That
and
you like
judges
to do.
did get to pick their first
Well,
couple
just think about
projects
science.
today. 'Cause,
Science
they
is
figured-
so encompassing. There's so many different aspects of it, so it can be overwhelming. And I am also noticing, by the way, your periodic element scarf today.
Oh yeah,
Very
Point
nice.
that out for the folks that are watching.
Yet another reason why kids don't have to memorize it, right?
Mrs. Speaking, can I borrow your scarf?
It's important to know how to read it.
It is.
Exactly. I totally agree.
I think it's very telling too, just how many judges we have and that they keep coming back.
They do.
I really think that speaks to the quality of the projects that we offer here, and what they're seeing. It's really a top-notch event, and they keep coming back.
Listen, I think this might be the best science fair in Western Mass, but maybe in the state. And I've heard that feedback.
And we are, the regionals is still going to do the paper score sheets, so we're really...
Get them on board with Google, will ya?
We will. We're going there, but we
That's
are
right.
really trying something new this year, and so we're really excited to see.
But we have some people providing Google electronic support, digital support, Google
She's
support.
done here. We'll be going back over there to
I will
provide
be
digital
going
support.
as well.
There's a couple people that don't want to type it in, and that's okay.
That's
We're
fine.
here
Right.
to help you. Like, you want to judge, we got
Here
it.
to help. That's
Here to
right.
help. So, Mr. Dendrizik, as you toured around, was there any projects that jumped out at you? Because I did, or is it just all of them? Like, what? They're all great, but
I mean, that's the thing, is they're so great, and typically, like when we're done with the radio today, I'll go back and I'll try to visit as many of them as I can,
Right.
and actually, even though I'm not a judge, like interact with this
Oh,
as if I
absolutely.
was, to basically make me feel inferior to their intelligence.
Absolutely, No, but we've already made that comment a couple times on the show so far that
It's
it's
incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
I just want to point out the benefits of science fair, because sometimes you get a little grumbling because it is something that they spend a lot of time on. But I wanted to talk about the importance, because when kids go to college, they come back consistently, and I was one of them.
Yeah.
That come back. This experience of science fair, of developing your own research plan, of diving in and looking at data and the validity of data. I would not have been successful as a
Those
college
presentation
science
skills,
major.
yeah.
And I got to college and I got a job as a research assistant right away. And not a
because
lot of
these kids are all learning how to research the right way.
because I knew how to put it together, because scientists are very picky about how you order it, because it goes to, we're all about peer reviews, we're all about feedback in journals, and you have to do things in certain ways, and
Right.
this is a good experience for kids.
And the presentation piece too, alone. Because we all have to do that.
And I love the fact that we continue to push at all of our grade levels from kindergarten through
Oh, yeah.
the high school, this type of authentic learning. But we really are pushing the envelope and trying to open students' minds up to the fact that they can all be scientists.
Actually, fun fact, this year I'm going to Highland Elementary School in the spring, and I'm going to take some of the kiddos from the AP classes, AP Bio in particular, and we're going to go help them do a STEM fair of their own.
I heard that.
We
That's
heard
excellent.
about
Good
that
stuff.
yesterday, yeah.
All right, Mr.
I think that a part of it too that's really, really awesome for the kids is we talk about having relevant learning. I mean,
Yes.
students can go and pick what they want to research. They get so much more buy-in, and it just really makes them that much more vested in what they're doing. That's a huge part of it.
When my son and his partner did their project for the science fair, they're both varsity soccer players, and the amount of Gatorade they drank and sports drinks they had over time, and they kept like, what's the most bang for our buck? What's the best sports drink? That's what they did their project on. Now,
It meant something to
They
them.
didn't win anything, and rightfully so, because I saw it. But it was something that was relevant and interesting to them, that meant something to them. So that's big.
All right, hey, listen, it is already 10 after 9.
There's the bell.
Yes.
That's the bell. We have to take a quick break.
And I have to go back to
You do. Thank you, Lauren, for
Thank
coming.
you so much.
Great to have you. Mr. Jendryzik, can you
Thousand
grab us
thanks
a couple more? Or Lauren, can you get us some more students for our next segment?
Students, judges, honored guests, anybody.
Yeah, we'll take
I might because the
All right, Pete, ready? Let's go for a quick break. We'll be back in a few.
All right.
You make me live. Whatever this world can give to me, it's you're all I see. Ooh, you make me live now, honey. Ooh, you make me live. Oh, you're the best friend No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. You're a shining star. No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. You're a shining star. No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield. And we're back with Superintendent Spotlight, broadcasting live from the gorgeous gymnasium here at Westfield High School for the science fair, the annual science fair. And again, our third year broadcasting live from the science fair, but our second year with having students from Westfield Technical Academy with projects being presented at the fair.
And as we just learned, this is our 20th Westfield Science Fair.
Awesome.
So we got a long history of great projects.
Right, and a new current history of having students from Westfield Tech coming up and joining the
bow ties.
And
loving the bow ties.
I said that to Dakota and Alec right away when they sat down. Like, "Whoa, you guys are rocking bow ties."
As former Doctor Who says, bow ties are cool. I'll give him 100% on that one.
I don't know if I can pull that off, but these guys certainly can.
Well, you could set your bow tie right over there where your other tie
Where my real tie is?
It would look just as nice.
Yeah, believe me, it's already too warm in here as it is. So, gentlemen, good morning. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, doing good. So we've got Dakota Durkee and Alex Smith from Westfield Tech, both sophomores. And gentlemen, why don't you tell our listening audience a little bit about the project that you came up with today, that you researched. Give us the background on it, what you learned from it, and what'd you find?
So, our project really digs deep into the aviation stuff. We're in aviation maintenance, so that's what we want to stick with. So our project is, obviously everyone knows flight attendants will ask you, please turn your phones off when you're in the airplane. So we were curious, first of all, why do they ask you that? What's the issue with a phone in the airplane? And, if there is an actual issue with phones on airplanes, how can we fix it, and how can we, eliminate the issue and make it so people can use their phones? So really what we did is, one, we researched and we found out, was this really an issue? And the answer was yes, it was, because cell phones have a transponder, and when you go to send a text or receive a text, those are transferred by radio waves, and these radio waves, they are known to cause interferences with the airplanes, navigation systems, GPS systems, and communications.
So that's why we have to put our phones.
I never knew that, and I always thought it was irritating until you put your phone, you turn your
So
phone
we
off.
either have to turn them off or put them on airplane mode.
Right.
So that takes care of that GPS piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what did you? So that's the issue. How did you solve it?
So we were doing a lot of research on the causes and stuff and what actually happens, and we discovered that it's caused by EMI, or electrical magnetic interference.
We were going to ask what that stood for, so thank you for explaining it. Yeah.
And that is what happens when your phone goes to send a text message or a call or receive one. So in our research, we discovered that it can be countered by this thing called a Faraday cage, and what it is just a cage made out of conductive metal.
So what we did is we created our own Faraday cage, and we did a lot of research, and we discovered that once we put a phone in there and we seal it up, it won't receive any text messages or calls, and vice versa. It won't send any.
Okay, because people might think, oh, if I don't make any calls or texts, it's fine if I leave my phone on, but it's not, because it could be the receiving the text. So your Faraday cage, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
What materials did you use to construct that?
So our Faraday cage, we experimented a little bit with copper, aluminum, steel. We wanted to see what was going to work. I think stainless steel, we tested with that too. We ended up choosing Monal, which is a nickel copper metal. So the material we use, it's Monal woven wire mesh. So it's like a mesh, and it's really incredibly strong. It's acid and corrosive resistant, so it's really good for airplanes, and it's also conductive. So we tested this. It is a really expensive metal, but we had a resource we could get it from for free, which is awesome. So we got
Good
it.
to have connections.
Yeah. So we tested it, and mono worked really good. So we tested it. We built a little electromagnetic interference shield, or the Faraday cage, you could call it. Put a phone inside of it, and made a phone call to the phone, and the phone call wouldn't go through. We took the phone out, and now the phone call would come through. Tested it, and so for our project, we did this 5 times, just to make sure it was accurate, and not a single time did any text message or any call come through.
Yeah.
So it was safe to say it works. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So where are you taking this information, though? I mean, it's pretty cool. Where are you gonna? So you're at the fair. You work in aviation.
Yeah.
Seems like you guys have developed something pretty unique that can go places, right?
Yeah. I think that.
Yeah, you did. You did.
It's definitely good stuff. I mean, so our connections with our instructors and stuff, we've been talking to them. Our instructors really thought it was a great idea when we explained it to them. I mean, so this is our science class. We kind of came up with the idea on our own, and when we brought it to them, they're like, wow, that's a really good idea.
They know a few people in the aviation industry, just saying.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why certainly we could further communicate it. I mean, we wanted to come here first and see what other people thought about it, judges. And
absolutely.
So have some judges walked around into your table so far?
Yeah, just one so far.
Are they giving you any did they give you any feedback yet? Like, wow, this is awesome kind of thing?
It definitely seemed like he liked it a lot. He thought it was really interesting.
And you'll get your written feedback probably by the end of the week from what all the judges say. But how was the experience of, for the first time, presenting your project to a judge?
It was a little nerve-wracking.
I bet.
Yeah.
We know what we're talking about, which is nice.
Right.
That always makes it easier.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan for how did you know the questions you might be asked? Did you have a plan for the presentation, who was going to say what, or did you just let it happen naturally?
So obviously we worked on it together, and we both have a good understanding on how this stuff works. So the idea was kind of, what we'll do, I'll read off these sections, and you explain these sections, and then when he asks questions, we'll alternate answers.
Perfect. So I see the way you're handling the interview now. It's very clear that you are a great team. Have you known each other a long time before you started working on this project?
So, because we went to different schools in middle school and elementary school too, we just met last year. And definitely being in the same shop together, so we're with each other every other week, and we're just together all week. So.
And are you in the same science class?
Yes.
As well?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward when we get off the air. We're all going to take a walk around and look at all the projects, but I'm definitely stopping by the cell phone one. Really nice job, guys.
Which number project?
I believe it's 138. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly.
We'll find you. We're right
over there, down there.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Great.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck today.
Good luck
Thank
to
you.
both of you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good one.
All right, Pete, I think we're up for another quick break while we go get some more students and staff to talk to. All right?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
he does seems to come out right. Once I went to hear them play at a club outside of town. I was so surprised, I was hypnotized by the sound these cats put down. When I saw this short fat guy stretch a band between his toes, hey, I laughed so hard 'cause the band got down when it finally reached his nose. Hey, y'all, prepare yourself for the rubber band. You never heard a sound like the rubber band. Man, you're bound to lose control when the rubber band starts to jam. Got that rubber band up on his toe, and then he wriggled it up around his nose. Guaranteed to blow your mind. And all it moves to just keeping time. Where in the world did he learn that? Oh, Lord. Oh, help me get away. Prepare yourself for the rubber band, man. You'll never heard a sound like a rubber band. Whoa, you're bound to lose control. Rubber band starts to jam. Rubber band, man, rubber band, man. How much of this stuff do we think we can stand? So much rhythm, grace, and debonair for one man? No. And then he had the nerve to twinkle his left toe, but through his knee, got the feeling in his head, y'all. Oh, come on, baby. Won't you cry yourself, hear me? Never heard a sound. Oh, he's my man, and he likes to jam. Starts to jam. Starts to jam. Moving up and down across the land. Got the people all in his ways. Everything about him seems out of place. Just moving, just a rubber band man. Just moving, just moving, just a rubber band man. Get down, oh, get down, lover.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Want to get in the flow with Rob and Joe? Join host Joe Langoni and Rob O'Lari Thursdays at 7:45 a.m. on Westfield Technical Academy's Tiger Talk.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
And welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. We're here broadcasting live from the Westfield High School Science Fair. 3rd year in a row, 20th year total for the Science Fair. We keep saying that this is the 20th anniversary of the Science Fair here at Westfield High School. So
excitement is in the air. It's an electric kind of feeling here.
Look at how Susan's being all scientific here. But so we have 3 guests with us now, and we're going to start with Denise Rosala and Erica Mascadrelli. Now, Denise, of course, you may recognize her because she co-hosts for us on a regular basis, and so thank you for coming over. And you're judging now, so I thought we wanted to get maybe your impression of some of the projects that you've seen already, and just of the process, the training. I mean, it was pretty intense, right?
Well, it's been awesome. I will let Erica defer to the process because she is the creator of this process. But
she's the scoring.
It's outstanding.
Right?
I've only judged a few, and already I'm like overwhelmed at how much expertise is in this room with these students. It is always my favorite time of the year to come and judge, but I almost feel like I'm baffled at how much these students have done.
They're so smart.
They are. They're well beyond.
Oh my gosh!
And their topics are so innovative, and it's just great. It's really exciting. So it's just fun to come out here, and it's fun to ask them questions and get their thoughts and their visions, and they're designing prototypes.
I know, amazing.
At 9th and 10th grade, I was not thinking about developing something that would be able to clean the ocean of pollution and plastics. That was not on my mind.
No, mine either.
Clearly.
And the things are coming up with are terrific. Erica, the process piece. So now we had Lauren on earlier, and she was telling us that the scoring is being done in Google Forms. So that, and while not everyone is comfortable using it, I did see some folks learning when I went over there to get the yogurt that Chris didn't bring me and Susan earlier.
What am I, an octopus? What, like 8 arms or something? Like, how was I going to bring that all over?
Just want to point out, when Susan went over to the food, she did offer to grab us anything. So
I did.
It's a learning
sort
experience.
of a social norm to do that.
So we're just giving Chris a hard time today. It's the purple shirt. Anyway, which is making him hot, by the way. We learned that purple heats up actually
The ultraviolets, yes.
Yeah. So, and Chris has been saying he's warm.
I really have.
It's on the spectrum of the rain.
No problem.
On the
going back to the office right
ultraviolet spectrum, that is a darker color, which would absorb more sunlight. And I probably learned that out there.
I'm sure
that was one of the projects. Yep.
It's one of the projects. So, Erica, talk about the process, the scoring in Google.
Converting from the...
Right, we just went from a paper form to an electronic form so that we could collect all the data. Somebody didn't have to sit and add all the scores up.
Right.
And we can get it collected automatically.
She said it took her 3 weeks previously, and now they'll be done by Friday.
Right.
And
That's
the
impressive.
students are
It'll
going to
be
get
done
their
by-
results.
Well, no, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Student,
Oh, wow.
student feedback.
Student feedback.
Previously took a lot longer to compile the judge's written feedback to the students.
Right.
That
now
process
I'm going to do it all
is...
electronically. The feedback will be printed for the kids tomorrow.
Rumor has it the regional fair will still be all on paper.
I
so
heard that.
Yeah, we have to get them on board.
I know.
I said they can hire Eric out. You know,
Yeah.
maybe the Iowa caucus should hire her out as well.
Exactly.
No. Sorry, the one
We're a tough crowd today, huh, Pete? We're a tough crowd.
But I was just thinking she's a genius when it comes to that Google and form making.
She is, and I would be remiss not to mention that Erica won the Grinspoon Award this year. And we're very fortunate to have her in our
So
district.
well
so
deserved.
congratulations, you're doing
Thank you.
great things with this. I appreciate. You're not judging today, though, right?
I'm
That'd be
not
too much.
judging. I'm doing the back end stuff.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come help with that as soon as we're done on the radio.
And we all go and judge.
Okay.
because
All right.
Go
We
judge.
have
Back
over
to work.
168
168.
Yeah, that's what she said.
projects.
Yes.
So we have a lot of work to do.
So we all
Go get 'em.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you both.
So we also have Dr. Jennifer Hanselman of Westfield State University with us
Welcome.
today.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hello.
Now, and you are Dean of the Math.
I'm Dean of the College of Mathematics and Sciences at Westfield State and a proud judge. This is, I think, my 5th year judging, I would
Nice.
say. So
Nice.
this is an annual event for us
Yes.
as well. We have several Westfield State faculty and staff here today.
That's right. And
We met
Junior's right there. We had him on earlier.
Otto earlier. And you also, your expertise is so appreciated here.
Right.
And we also know that you provide some consultation and support in addition to the judging. Can you
Right.
talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So Westfield State and our resources that we have available and our combined commitment, just like in Westfield Public Schools, to scientific literacy and interdisciplinary nature of this whole project and process, the scientific process itself. We have supported and mentored projects on our campus because as students really start to expand and think about ways that they can tackle these scientific issues, we have some of those laboratory supports and we have the expertise on our campus. And so we're thrilled to be able to partner and collaborate and support the teachers and the students.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
and quite honestly, you've been, you're also a member of our Westfield Education to Business Alliance. You've been participating in our Adopted Classroom. I
Yes.
feel as though, Westfield Public Schools collaboration with Westfield State University has never been higher, and it's fantastic. I just want to thank you for your efforts.
Absolutely.
In terms of STEM Week and everything else, I mean, it's just been fantastic, and really, this is a culmination too, because, we had the students from Franklin and Abner up at Westfield State during STEM Week when Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito was there, and now the other age group end of the spectrum here.
Right.
So this is fantastic, right?
And it really demonstrates the pipeline that we
Right.
talk about frequently. So the Pioneer Valley STEM Network has been revitalized.
I was just going to say, right, yeah.
And so we've relaunched it. Westfield State University was named the lead institution in 2019. and I serve as a regional manager, and we partnered and we specifically came to Westfield Public Schools first as one of our partners.
Yeah.
And Lauren has been an active member of the advisory
Absolutely.
committee, and we have teachers and PTO members, all part of the process, because we all are on the same page that
Right.
outreach is so important, and engagement from an early age is important. So K through 16, we're all in it together, and so I really appreciate that
I like the
collaboration.
sound of that. That's
Yeah.
good.
It is.
I
It
like
really
that.
is.
I like
And
that.
so through that network, you brought the training that really impacted our ability to provide what we did do for STEM Week through the Zero Waste Challenge that was held right at Westfield State.
Right. And when we heard the need, we heard teachers say, we need resources here in Western Mass. And so I've always said to my faculty at Westfield State and to our collaborators that, we need to shorten that Mass Pike, right? So if these resources need to come out to Western Mass, and if these trainings can be closer, then let's do it. And so to be able to provide that at Westfield State and have all the
Huge.
space, it really
It's
helps.
huge. Let's be honest, a lot of the stuff is out east. And so there is a part of Massachusetts that exists, west of 495. And I think that we have to acknowledge that. And I'm glad that you were able to take this on and revitalize the Pioneer Valley STEM Network for us. So thank you.
It's been a great experience, and we're looking forward to many, many years of
Well,
collaboration.
it's benefiting our students. And it's interesting because Lauren and I were on Mass Appeal on Monday talking about women in STEM, and I know that was a big push, too,
Right.
by the Lieutenant Governor that day at Westfield State. And I
Right.
think, was it See Yourself in STEM? That was the whole thing. Can you talk about, what was the push for that?
Right, so See Yourself in STEM was the theme of Massachusetts STEM Week in 2019, but really is our mantra for all, right?
Right.
So
Right.
this goes back decades when the federal government had identified the need for access for all into STEM. And when we have that as our theme and we continue it throughout the year, even as we go into the Massachusetts STEM Summit, which is April 15th,
Right.
it's really showing and developing our hub of collaboration, that it's not on just one group or one level, that See Yourself in STEM applies to K-12, to higher ed, to the 2 years, to the industry and community partners, to say that we need to provide access and opportunity,
Well,
and
at
all
the-
students should be able to.
Right, there was a student that spoke, as I recall, at that
Right.
when we were in Scanlon Hall, and it was a young lady
Gabby.
who was not going into STEM and then changed her mind, right?
And she changed her mind due to mentorship. So she specifically spoke about her Professor Flarin at Westfield State, who connected and mentored. And I think if we continue to see ourselves as those mentors and, adopt a classroom, your
Right.
project,
Huge.
with Tuba is just so impressive to keep those mentorships going. These skills are transferable. So what we're seeing here today in the gym
Right.
are not, certainly scientific process is everywhere, engineering design is everywhere, but speaking skills, our ability to look somebody in the eye and answer a question, these are
Shake their hand.
transferable skills that everyone needs.
Right, and we hear from our students after they have gone on. They come back, including our supervisor of science, technology, and engineering,
did
Lauren
this,
Figge.
right. She was a student here.
These are the skills she learned through this process that helped her in going to K to 16. I like to think of
I like that.
Can I ask
So
this next
used to
question too?
pre-K to
Because
12.
when we were on Mass Appeal, the question came up about females in STEM,
Right.
girls choosing STEM, and there is a gap.
Sure.
And there's also a confidence issue, I think.
Correct.
Just systemically, I think, in education. Do we see that gap closing at all? Are we seeing any impact on some of this work? And I know we reinvigorated the STEM last year, the Pioneer Valley STEM Network.
Right.
Are we seeing any change?
We are seeing a shift, which is encouraging, but our work isn't done.
We have a long way to go, right?
We do, and and it does begin at an early age, and which is why our collaboration is so important. We're seeing that girls who are interested in STEM or in mathematics at an early age in elementary school are somehow dropping off in middle school,
Right.
and disconnected in high school, whether it's confidence, social, or just a connection. So we're really trying to bridge that gap. We have seen, an exercise I actually did with first graders at Munger Hill over STEM Week.
Okay.
I asked them to do this classic activity where you say, draw a scientist.
Draw the scientist.
And when you get those results, it's amazing. It's qualitative data that's very important.
How did it? They all
And
drew men.
one little boy walked up and said, "I drew myself."
Nice.
Girls came up and drew themselves.
Nice.
They're
Good.
seeing a shift, and sure enough, the Science, which is one of the highest impact journals out there, also noted a shift over the past couple decades in how students are seeing themselves in STEM, and females are being drawn more frequently than before.
With our supervisor of science, Lauren Figge, supervisor of mathematics, Kate Perez, dean of the College of Mathematics and Science,
Well represented.
Jennifer Hanselman. Westfield is
girl power.
Excellent.
Right, and I think that's the important message, though, is that you can, and it's about the story. So one thing that I even, at the college age, we're seeing students who aren't sure of their path either.
Right.
Abby was a good example of that. We can't assume that these students know going right into college that they know what that looks like or what career options are even available. So we're recognizing that, and we're doing more storytelling.
Right.
What is our path? So when we mentor, we're not just they can see the end result of a faculty member. Well, you're a higher ed faculty member, you do research, you've published, but they don't know that story of how that person got there. And I think it's very important to share that, because not everyone had a clear path.
Right, and I think the adaptive classroom pieces too. So, we're getting to the students younger and younger, and I think that you just spoke about Munger Hill. I know there was a class from Westfield State University that worked with our students at Franklin Ave too, right? On the Westfield River project. You want to talk? That was a great project. The kids had a lot of fun.
Right.
But I think what we're doing when we're hitting them younger like that, we're letting them know, hey, you can do this, right?
Right. And those experiences really to emphasize the immersion. I think one thing that we're trying to do in these partnerships and collaborations is not a one and done.
Right.
Not just,
it's year long.
are important, that initial engagement is important, but to make sure that those students are making connections over the course of multiple interactions. And so the Franklin Ave project,
that Westfield River project is pretty cool.
It's a really cool year-long project where two faculty members, Dr. Christensen, who's a biologist, an aquatic biologist, and Dr. Taryn Weiss, who's a geologist, they're working with those fourth graders to really understand the Westfield River watershed from the biological, hydrological, geological aspects of it, so they know what's in their backyard.
Right.
That's the connection, and that's the environmental citizenry that we want all students
Absolutely.
to get.
Well, and because it's in our backyard, I think the students are vested.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I think there was a message that maybe the Westfield River wasn't clean, wasn't safe to go in or whatever,
Right.
and I think that's being proven wrong, that the Westfield River is actually pretty healthy.
I think it's an excellent point of debunking myths and misconceptions.
Exactly. Yes.
I think there's so much of that, and the way that we're looking at scientific literacy is to do that early on.
Right.
Have students, want evidence. I mean, this is what this room is all about. What are your
Absolutely.
data to support that conclusion? What is the data to support your opinion, right? And I think we're trying to really develop that educated student.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Hanselman, for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck continuing to judge.
I'm going to judge.
Okay, we have to take our last break, Pete. It's 9:44 here, broadcasting live from Westfield High School. We only have 15 minutes left. Really? That's it.
Wow.
Here we go.
waiting, 'cause you make me feel like I'm alive again. Oh, you make me feel like I'm alive again. To me magical, and you should say everything you want's a dream away. Under this pressure, under this weight, we are diamonds taking shape. We are diamonds taking shape.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio, 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Hey, welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. It is 9:50.
Last segment.
We've been on the air for an hour and 50 minutes already. It feels like 10 minutes.
And I couldn't think of a better segment to end our show today.
Well, why is that, Mr. Wright?
Because we have not one, not two, but three North Middle School alumni joining us on the show for the last segment.
Folks, and Adriana some paper mill too. So there you go.
Yes, but I'd like these three heralded polar bears from North Middle that are now Westfield High School Bombers to introduce themselves to our listening audience and what it is that exactly, folks, that you've been working on for the science fair and what you prepared for today.
Yeah. Aiden and Cam, start. Go ahead.
All right. So my name's Cameron, and what we did, me and Aiden Boyle, we ended up doing a project solving a big problem for gamers, which is gamer sweat. So what we did was...
Explain gamer sweat.
It's just,
for those of us who aren't gamers.
Okay, so if you're really cranking out a game, you're grinding, you're going hard, you're going sweaty. So you're just going on...
So your hands are sweaty. Does it affect your ability?
Yeah, so it's just
slippery.
It's gross.
Yeah, and it's gross.
Yeah. That's just bottom line.
It is.
Yeah. It's just like, screw that.
Love it.
Hey, you want to talk about it?
So when you have sweat, it'll cause you to slip off the buttons, and it'll miss your shot. You won't have the same precision as you did with dry and sticky hands. So what we did was last year we built a mouse with a fan on the inside, and what that would do, it would blow cold air up into the palm of your hand, which in turn would dry your hand of over 300% of sweat, meaning cut it down into a third of what it would typically be.
Wow.
So this year what we did was we took a keyboard, we looked at the other hand, we took a keyboard and took out the back plate, made it taller, and put a fan on the inside and cut slits in the key slots. And so what that would do is blow air up onto like your fingertips, and then it would travel up your fingers into your palm. And so that would keep your left hand cool while playing on the computer. Games like Fortnite and Call of Duty.
So has anyone, I mean, I've never heard of this before. So are you guys did you originate this idea? I mean, is this like something you can patent? I mean, seriously.
It's all him.
So
like I was here.
Last year.
Come on, Cam. Don't sell yourself short, bud.
I did some work, but like.
Last year with the mouse, what we did was we went to a patenting agency and we did put in like the blueprints, the idea, the pictures, all the information on the mouse. And from what they've said, that there's no other patent for that.
That's what I mean. I've never heard of it.
There is a mouse on the market that does have a fan on the inside, but it's an artificial fan, so it's not spinning its blades to produce air.
Okay.
It's suction, so it'll suck air from the sides, and it just will travel it up into your palm.
Oh, so it's a whole different concept.
Yeah, but what that does is it makes it louder, and you get a slight vibration feel, because when you have a fan, you have what's called counterbalance. So there's weight on all three sides of a fan. So when it's spinning, it won't rattle to any side, because a triangle is the strongest shape.
Right.
So three sides. So it'll always hold its own. So as of now, there's no fan mouse on the market.
Okay, so what would the next step be? So you sent everything in. So does that mean that you could now apply for a patent?
Right. Next step would ultimately, yes, applying for a patent. Honestly, we just kind of haven't done it.
Well, it's not like you're on
a to-do list.
Well, I was going to say, it's not like these guys aren't like super busy with a million other things too, you know. So,
all right, I have a gaming question. So, the keyboard that you're talking about, where you, for what you did this year to raise it up, and there's cutouts, is there only one part of the keyboard that the gamer needs to use?
Well, they have gaming keyboards. I've seen that.
Is it a special keyboard? Okay, see.
There are gaming keyboards. I've seen those, right?
Explain it to me like I'm 8.
Right. So
no, an 8-year-old would probably know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Explain it to me like I'm 50.
You have a
Thank
typical
you.
keyboard like what he has over there.
Okay.
The difference between a typical keyboard and a gaming keyboard is obviously price point.
Yeah.
Right.
Is the travel of the keys.
Yeah.
So with his keyboard, his might go down, maybe like a 20th of an inch.
20th to an eighth, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So,
right.
You know, until the computer recognizes that you press the button. But with a gaming keyboard, it might be 1/60th of an inch. So you just have to blow on the key, like the most.
It's very responsive. The key.
It's very responsive. It's much more adapted to how a gamer would play, because a gamer uses WASD. It's on the left. That's what they use to move around. And like you could use E, Shift, Spacebar. So it's all on the left side of the keyboard.
Okay, that was my question.
So usually they're tilted at a 15-degree angle to eliminate carpal tunnel in the wrist. So also it's typically they're mechanical. So keys like that are flat. Gaming keys are raised up, sort of like pyramids with the tip cut off.
Okay.
So it's a more comfortable feel.
Makes sense.
You can differentiate the keys better because there's more of a gap in between.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, listen, I would encourage you to look more into it, because if no one else has done it and you find a way, plenty of manufacturing companies in Westfield, just saying, someone agrees to make that product for you, still go to college, but you might do pretty well. You know, when you come up with these great ideas.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
And don't forget about Cameron, who's been there since the beginning.
Since day one.
Right? Okay.
And he's done some work. He admitted it. Okay.
Yeah. Good luck to both
Good luck
of
to
you.
both of you. Adriana, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So you have your project out here as
Yes,
well.
I do.
Did you work with a partner this year?
No, I did not.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your project.
So I tested the different washing alternative methods of dishes, because it's a pretty common household task that most people do, hand washing dishes.
And don't love either, by the way.
No. Thank goodness for dishwashers.
Yeah, so I know my family and a lot of people that I know do hand wash dishes quite often.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so I
everybody
decided to
does.
test if like that's actually like washing the dishes or not, because well, with sicknesses going around in the
Yes.
winter and
Do we want to know the answer to this?
probably not. So I
Okay.
tested 4 different methods. I tested soaking in hot water with soap, and then I tested
Like dish soap, like palm olive
Yep,
or something? Okay.
Dawn. I used Dawn. Yep.
okay.
Nice.
And then I tested bleach with hot water soaking in that solution, and then I did the dishwasher and like hand washing, like typical households do. The results were actually pretty disgusting. Hand washing,
You had to
hand
cap it
washing
off a little
dishes
bit.
isn't the cleanest. They had like 188 bacteria colonies
Still
shown.
after they
After
washed
they
the
were
dish,
washed.
and then people put their food on that and eat off that.
Yeah.
plate. Oh, boy.
Now, Adriana, was that because the apparatus, whether it was a sponge or whatever, that's still washing the dishes? Is that because that itself was full of the colonies? Or?
Yeah, well, I figured that had something to do with it, but I did use a new sponge, so
Okay.
it still had like some bacteria in it, and just sitting by the sink alone would just collect tons of bacteria.
That makes sense.
And then drying the dishes with the towel that has the bacteria on it is getting transferred to the clean dish, so it's not really
'Cause you're using the same
clean.
towel,
So the
everything?
dishwasher was the best result.
Oh,
far.
nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I want to go back to
Did
the.
that have any bacteria colonies?
Trial 1 had 1 bacteria colony, and then the second bacteria had none at all. So
And what detergent did you use in the dishwasher?
I think it was the one, I don't know
little
exactly.
packets?
Yeah, it was.
Cascade.
I think it was Cascade. Yeah.
Odds, yeah.
So
Okay.
So your recommendation would be then. for
Sorry, I didn't mean to
not-
laugh. I saw Kate Phelan coming in from behind.
Would be for people not to
not to hand wash. Ever
dishes?
since I've done this project, I've kind of told my mom, I'm like, Mom, just put everything in the dishwasher. I don't really want to deal with a dirty dish.
You're right. And most, if not all, dishwashers have an antibacterial cycle on them.
They do. The new
Well,
ones.
the newer ones do.
Yeah.
So
It was definitely a relevant project to today's society.
Yeah.
That's why I decided to test it too, because my freshman year I tested what cleans a toothbrush the best, because you just let your toothbrush sit in the bathroom. So it kind of like sparked my interest in growing what's on a clean dish. So it was interesting.
So does your mom now do everything in the dishwasher?
No, she still makes me hand wash.
What did you do a project sophomore and junior year?
I did not. No, I took a break from AP and pre-AP science classes, but
yes.
You jumped back in.
But I jumped back into it because of my
Oh.
future career that I'm going into.
And
What's that?
Biomedical engineering.
Wow!
Nice.
Talk about women in STEM.
Yeah.
Holy moly!
That's
Turning the tides here in Westfield.
Awesome.
That's what
do
we're
you
doing.
have a school? That
Yeah, I
you're-
do. I'm going to Wentworth.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
We're very proud of you. Nice job.
Thank
Nice
you.
job.
Paper Mill alumni, North Middle alumni,
Where
now
you
Westfield High
start,
School alumni.
And now
Awesome.
on
Yep.
to
Congratulations.
better things.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Adriana, and good luck today.
Thank you.
All right, have a great one.
You too.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that wraps up our show. It is 10 o'clock on the dot here. We are done. And I wish we could go on all day, but I know
We have
going
some
to
other things
intermediate
to
school.
attend
But thanks, folks, for listening. We're going to rebroadcast this tomorrow as the best of show, because we won't have our show tomorrow.
That's correct.
Probably be a 2-hour delay.
Oh,
anyway.
no.
And but this is going to be one of our best ofs. This is a great show. Pete, thanks for agreeing to do taking us on the road. We certainly appreciate whenever we can do that. I still want to do a show at the hangar before the year's out, if we can do that too.
Sounds good to me. It
sounds like
all set up there. So.
Oh, it is perfect. All right, Susan, thank you for joining us today.
you.
I hope you
Have fun judging.
I had fun. Oh, yes,
She's not-
I'm going into the help.
She's
with-
going to be helping with the Chromebook piece.
Sweet.
All right, folks, next week will be a best of show. We have February recess, but we come back
that's right.
with Jill Phelan, principal at Highland Elementary School, and we'll be talking all about Highland School. Thanks for listening and watching. Have a good break next week.